Hello, welcome to my channel, The Ascension Guide. I'm your guide, Joe Martin. So today's video is about being led astray by religion, mostly. So first, before we get started, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and being a subscriber if you are, and helping out this channel. If you're not, I would appreciate you hitting the subscribe button before we get started here. Thanks everybody for tuning in once again, and without further ado, we'll get to the message. So, like I said, today's message from Archangel Ariah is about being led astray. And so how this works is we're talking about how church sort of puts the middleman in between us and our divination, our connection with God, source, the creator, however you want to interpret that. So what happens is we have these churches or religions that create this dogma. They create this middleman. We have to go to the church. They're the ones who communicate with God. We communicate through them, so on and so forth. It creates this barrier, creates this roadblock. It takes us one step removed from our true divination, our true ability to reach in and understand who we are. And from the source level, we are all source. We are all God experiencing life in its own way, from its own perspective, in its own illusion, in this third dimensional reality. And so through that, the religion has sort of hijacked these and taken enough truths and placed them with enough falsities that people can't tell the difference. And it can be difficult. The main thing that I've mentioned before is, if you're reading the Bible, if it resonates in love, then it's true. If it resonates in fear, then it is false. So take that how you will as you go through and read your Bible. But the main thing here is that we kind of get hijacked by these religions, and they tell us that we have to do this, we have to do that. We get caught up in the dogma, we get caught up in the rules. And through all that, we get pushed away from what it really is about. And that's connecting. It's being quiet. It's going within. It's learning about who we truly are, and opening ourselves to the possibility of what we can be and who we can be. One of the messages I got not too long ago is we are all gods, but only those who remember can become them. And so if you sit there and think about what that means, if we don't remember who we are, then we can't become who we are fully, if that makes sense to you. So we have to be aware of these things. We have to be aware of the tactics that are used. And I'm not saying that religion is a bad thing. Religion serves a great purpose on this planet for many people. And it also is the opposite too. Duality is within everything in this reality. So we have to understand that. But there's a lot of good that comes from religion. So don't think that I'm bashing religion in this video. We have to understand how religion plays a part in this world, and it keeps a lot of people, gives them hope, gives them, the things that spirituality can also, but maybe they just haven't figured out that other side of it yet. So it still allows them a connection with God, but not the way that it's truly meant to be in a lot of cases. And so that's what we're striving to get back to, is having that true connection, that true understanding of who we are, what we came here to do, what we came here to experience, all of these different things. And when we have somebody like a religion or a church telling us that you have to go through them and you have to do X, Y, and Z, otherwise you won't reach the kingdom of heaven and all the blah, 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 then we start to lose focus on what the true mission is and how we truly connect with God and what we are truly here to do. So that's the one way that religion leads people astray, and from the true understanding of what God is, or the creator or source, energy, whatever you call it, really doesn't matter. And then there's the other way that religion also leads people astray. And what that is sort of similar. What happened to me is early on, I'll just say something didn't feel right when I would go to church, and I only went a couple of times when I was really young. And even at that age, I just knew something was off and it didn't feel right. And the more I got older and learned about some of the things, the Crusades, some of the stuff the Catholic Church has done that I'm sure we all know about, doesn't need mentioning. But when we learn about those things, it repulses us. And anything that has to do with God, religion, Jesus, anything like that, we're automatically, the the force field gets put up, so to speak, where the reaction is unintentional. And I'm still getting over it to some degree, even now, and understanding that when I've met these different characters that are, also in the Bible, there's similarities and there's differences. And when I talk about Jesus or God or any of these other, I'm talking about it in the religious sense, more just that these were spiritual beings that are a part of this, which is all encompassing. It's everything. It's all energy. It's all the history of the world, all combined into one. So I see it from that sense. But so when people have that interpretation of religion and associate God or Jesus or any of these other figures with religion, and as soon as you mention any of these figures and they already have their connotation of what these figures are, who they are, and how they're attached to religion and how religion repulses them, then you can see how this also leads them astray. And so we need to understand that when we're trying to help people and we're trying to awaken people and we're trying to help them get on the right path, that everybody's coming from a different place. Everybody's coming from a different understanding of what God or energy or source or whatever you want to call it is. And a lot of times people are all saying the same thing. They just have their own words, and we get caught up in the minutia and arguing over who's right about what word or whatever it is. But the main thing is to get people back to understanding who we are, we are truly divine beings. We are here to experience all that life has to offer. We're not here to be controlled and bound by rules and dogma and these other things. We're here to experience and to love. And so anything that falls outside of that, that's why I say when you read your Bible, if the message resonates in love, then it's real, it's true. If it resonates in fear, then you do what you will with it. But those are the messages that were given to me. So I just wanted to pass that along to all of you, and for you to understand that the closer that we can all understand and come to the same understanding, and understand that I might call it one thing and you may call it another thing, but we're talking about the same thing, and not to get hung up on the details, but to listen to the message, to understand the bigger picture, and understand that most of us are saying the same thing. We're having the same experiences, although we may interpret it differently based on our evolution and our perception at the point that we're at in our lives. It may appear differently or seem differently to us, or it may literally, such as Ariah gives me messages a lot of times where, like they've said before in the past or in the book, sometimes they'll take the form of a female, sometimes they'll take the form of a male. Sometimes I see random images that I'm assuming is their energy taking up that random image to create that message for me. So we don't want to get caught up on, well, they saw this or they called it that or there was this, because source, spirit, all these, whatever names you call for it, they're going to take the forms that make sense to you so that you understand the message clearly. And just because that may not completely line up with what you had the image of this XYZ being or whatever, then it doesn't really matter, because what they're trying to do is relay the information so that it makes sense to you, so that you understand, so that you can get the message that's necessary to you at your point in your evolution from your perspective. So hopefully this all makes sense to everybody. And if you got anything out of this, as always, please go ahead and like and share the message. As the more people we can reach and the more people we can help get to this sort of understanding, the faster we can raise the consciousness on this planet, the faster we get to everywhere where everybody's trying to get to. So thanks again, everybody. Like I said, if you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that button. I appreciate all you tuning in. Till the next video. Love and light.